Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Francis and Brett and Ben and Alonso and Superman v. Batman, as though this were a court case, apparently. Apparently the bootleg trailer went out, so Warner Brothers said, the hell with it, and they released the thing officially, and folks are talking about it. Take a look.
We, as a population on this planet, have been looking for a savior.
We're talking about a being whose very existence
They are not telling us the truth.
challenges our own sense of priority in the universe.
Human beings have a horrible track record of following people with great
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Chaos.
Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right
We
thing.
know better now, don't we? Devils don't come from hell beneath us.
They brought their war here.
No, they come from the sky.
The world has been so caught up with what he can do that no one has asked what he should do.
That's how it starts. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
Interesting.
Very
interesting take on it. Good take on it.
Help me, I think I don't like superheroes.
Why is that?
I don't like their superheroism. I don't, the movies that I love are, they feel human, and these movies, by their very nature, don't. These stories, they have to be great. I loved some. I loved Iron Man because it felt like a guy, right? And some of them, obviously, I liked the Batman.
The Dark Knight and try to make it as humane as possible.
Yeah, but it was too much, and the ending sucked. But I mean, it was an ending just designed for a sequel, so it took me out of a movie that I had really loved.
Yeah.
But like, what's happening here? Like, why wouldn't they get along?
We don't know.
They're really drawing on to get into the history a little. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, where Superman has become very much an agent of the government, and Batman is still considered this sort of dangerous vigilante. I think actually they sort of reversed it.
Yeah, so I don't have enough information from this trailer to find who is the evil person and who is the good guy.
Well,
I do know that Batman's suit is a little grimacy.
I think. Well, look, it's the unwritten law, or maybe the written law about superheroes is that when they meet, they have to fight and then figure out that they're on the same side.
Yeah,
so
that's what Thor did with Iron Man.
Exactly. So this is just getting that out of the way. I'm sure that will, this is to then take us to the Justice League movies or whatever's next. So we aren't. There's not anybody we have to root against necessarily. I do kind of dig the idea of, and this is something that the comics have touched on occasionally, where the nature of superheroes, just their existence, changes the world as we know it. Whether it's as direct as actual religions where people start worshiping them, or even just like in the idea of Watchmen, where if you have this, guy who has power over time, space, and physics, and you get him to work for the government, that might affect our foreign policy. So I think they're at least going a little macro here, which is.
I think that's what Zack Snyder likes to do. If you've seen in Watchmen as well, and with the whole Judeo-Christian images there of the false god sprayed across the statue, that's what he's trying to go for. And many people, when you type in Superman versus Batman, everyone's already pre-predicting that it's going to be a Frank Miller Dark Knight story. But as you know, there's many ways to slip the twist of switching the roles around and have Batman be sent to take care of Superman. And that's what the voices in the background I got from it, because you hear people saying, oh, he's an alien. When's the last time we should put so much trust in someone that's not of the same species as us? And Batman, of course, we know is a more humane superhero, so he's there to try and take care of Superman. That's what I think.
I do get, though, the possibility that if Superman becomes an agent of the government, and Batman, even though he's a rich guy, becomes an agent of the people.
Yeah,
this is more of a Civil War dynamic between the two, where one is the champion of the establishment power, the inhuman power of the federal unit, and the other one is like somebody
that seems to be to what would make most sense based on that dynamic set up there. Is that right? And also given the climate that we're in too, that like a government, too big, too many drone strikes, too many reckless cops,
Well, the weird thing is, if you were a resident of Metropolis in the universe of these movies, you aren't necessarily thinking of Superman. I mean, maybe you are the way the trailer sets it up, but I'm thinking, wouldn't they all be kind of annoyed that he and this other guy fighting pretty much destroyed the entire city?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be Metropolis' 9/11 was the two Kryptonians beating the crap out of each other?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know how quickly was the turnaround to, oh, Superman, you're our savior.
I think most
let's
of
build a statue to you and then deface it.
most of the narration there, I think, came from Jesse Eisenberg, right? Who's going to be Lex Luthor. So what I was thinking.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I caught Charlie Rose.
Yeah, part of
Charlie Rose, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Holly Hunter.
I think
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons as well, and I think Jesse Eisenberg was in there at some point because he's obviously going to be Lex Luthor. So I was just thinking, why is Batman going to be the antagonist in this movie? I think that it's got to be they're going to make Superman somewhat of a character to be so conflicted that Jesse Eisenberg. Obviously, Lex Luthor, his nemesis is Superman. He's going to perhaps turn the society against.
At the very least, I think it should be a 5-game series where they fight and
3 in Gotham and 2 in Metropolis.
I feel like So I think
Gotham and Metropolis actually play in this movie. I heard is in a game of football against each other, a high school football match. Because Zack Snyder's son is a quarterback. I think he's part of it.
In the same state now.
Yeah,
okay, well,
you got to, but that's good because you got to play with that. In general. Somebody who can make their eyes a different color,
like a glowy eye thing,
is evil. In general,
and especially with that voice.
And his sound straight away, he says, "Do you bleed?" You will. That goes against, again, what Frank Miller's story is, because in Frank Miller's story, they know each other beforehand. That doesn't sound like a story of two people that know each other.
And Superman's like, if I ever go crazy, he's going to kill me.
exactly.
But no, this is, they're rejiggering it to where this is their first meeting, and they're meeting as antagonists. It's not going to probably last beyond this movie. But this is the one moment where they sort of throw down, and obviously Batman's going to have to be very sort of, teched up, which he was in the Miller, and I think also in the look of the costume and the graying Bruce Wayne, all of that is calling back Frank Miller.
That's what they're saying, and they say in the trailer, they're kind of playing with, it seems, what would happen if you have someone like Batman whose family is killed in front of him. He has a bunch of neuroses. He goes on that arc in his youth where he starts defending humanity, and this might be afterwards when he loses faith in it, and now Batman's just like, screw it. I just don't. I like
so you mean
that.
he could be evil? Like
I think they both could just be really disgruntled and.
Well,
but I never see
disgruntled
I never see any proof in this where Superman's a bad guy.
Look, in Man of Steel, I think he's still kind of getting his bearings, and, he's not the sort of fully formed Superman that we've come to know from other comics and other movies. This is the sort of messy Zack Snyder, grim and gritty in quotation marks version.
But
but again, it's a trailer. It can go in any direction, and I'm going to keep an open mind about it. But I have to say that Man of Steel didn't engender excitement in me to see sequels the way that, say, the Avengers did.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that there's a lot of pieces moving around where we're going to see a number of films coming forward from the DC universe. That I just think that the Marvel ethos has proven to be more fun and give me what I want out of a superhero movie, to get back to your original point, which is like, I don't need them to be realistic. I need them to be like a little campy, a little fun, a little let's beat the shit out of each other, and not a little Zack Snyder like, you just missed the point on every movie you do.
But it's not just Zack Snyder. They've also got David Goyer writing it as well, who's done the whole Dark Knight series as well with that humane Dark Knight character. So he's going to be doing the same thing in this. They're going to be trying to portray it as humane as possible and take the superhero away.
Getting back to what Ben was saying, I agree with you that these movies work most successfully when we recognize a glimmer of humanity.
Yes.
That, it can't just be these sort of larger-than-life titans in capes whomping the crap out of each other.
And destroying cities,
And
destroying
that's the last 45 minutes of a 9-hour Superman movie.
Right. I know, and that was my objection.
So it would behoove Snyder and Warner Brothers in general, when they're expanding the DC universe and attempting to emulate what Marvel and Disney have done, to remember that and to sort of give us people and maybe a little lightness every so often.
Do you like the Affleck casting?
Yeah, I would like. I mean, after Daredevil, I was a little questionable because I think he even came out in an interview and said that he was immediately regretted his role in Daredevil. So
immediately regretted.
Yeah, so he
should have seen it coming.
So he's. I think it's a good casting. I'm excited to see him play it.
Brett, you like him?
I got no problem with Affleck. It is after Daredevil. It
Yes.
is, 10 years after Daredevil.
Yeah, he's a different.
And there's so much more we've seen from Affleck. Affleck has proved himself to be good at stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is not gonna preclude me from liking it.
Yeah, I mean, I was never not Team Affleck, I think, but certainly he's become a richer performer in his sort of time in the wilderness.
I wish you were directing it.
He's got the right chin.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
He's got the right chin for a Batman suit. You know what I mean? Because you can see that bum chin right through.
And I'm sure Affleck would much rather we'd be talking about this trailer than about the whole PBS scandal that's going on right now. So
I don't know the PBS.
Oh, the Sony, one of the Sony leaked emails. Apparently, PBS does this show where they track your lineage. For famous people.
Right.
Apparently, he is the descendant, like many Americans are, of a slave owner, and he sort of made them take that out.
Oh, really?
And which is only now surfacing because the emails got out, and so now it's it's a thing.
Right now, that's foolish. You shouldn't take it out. Nobody would. No rational person would hold that against you. You mentioned that he looked disgruntled, and obviously, I wanted to check first to make sure my memory was right. But James Garfield's assassin was a man named Charles Guiteau, who was always described. You cannot look up Charles Guiteau without the phrase disgruntled office seeker.
There you go.
He wanted a patronage job. He didn't get it. He shot the president.
There you go.
But he has one of the best numbers in Stephen Sondheim's Assassins.
He does. Charles Guiteau does. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't want to make sure that as a mistake everybody makes, that Leon Solgatz, who killed McKinley, was
right.
described.
No, he had stomach pains.
I'm so happy that we're ending on that note.
He was a crazed anarchist.
Yes.
Yeah, crazy anarchist.
Keep him straight.
Uh-huh.
All right, so
and then shitty actor.
That's right, shitty.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman opens this summer, so
No, next
2016.
2016.
next summer. Oh, right, sorry. Next
We've
summer.
got a whole year.
Why are we already talking about this? Oh man.
No.
All right. Well, anyway, whenever it opens, we'll be talking about it with the flick. So come back.